Okay, let's dive right in. We're talking about something that's on everyone's mind right now. Teachers, parents, students, you name it. In a world where an AI can spit out a perfect essay in, what, seconds? How do we actually know if anyone is really learning anything? I mean, that's the big one, right? If a machine can pass the test, then what is the test even testing? It's not just about cheating, it's so much deeper. It makes you step back and ask, okay, what skills actually matter in this new world? And, maybe even more importantly, how on earth do we measure those skills? So, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at the AI dilemma that classrooms are facing right now. Then, we'll explore a new way to think about assessment based on what teachers are saying. After that, we'll see how AI can actually be a tool for teachers, not against them. And finally, we'll pull it all together into a blueprint for what comes next. Okay, so let's jump into the heart of the problem. For, forever, education has had this one simple rule. Test what a student has memorized. But generative AI didn't just nudge that system. It pretty much took a stick of dynamite to it. Now, the first instinct for a lot of people is to just ban this stuff, right? But the real challenge, and honestly the real opportunity, is to completely rethink what learning even means.
So where do you even begin with a problem this huge? Well, to get some real answers, some researchers in Thailand did something really smart. They went directly to the people on the front lines. They surveyed almost 400 teachers and school leaders, and they asked them the million-dollar question. With AI everywhere, how do we need to change the way we test our students?
And who were these teachers? Well, it was a really interesting mix. About half were from private schools, and more than a third were from the public primary school system. And that's pretty important, because you're getting perspectives from two very different kinds of school environments. And if you look at the grade levels they teach, something really stands out. The feedback is super heavy on early education. I mean, more than half of the responses came from primary school teachers. So why is that a big deal? Because these are the folks building the absolute foundation of learning for the youngest kids.
So when you put all that data together, one thing becomes crystal clear. The message from these teachers was unmistakable. We have to completely change what we're looking for. It can't be about just checking if a student can remember a fact anymore. It has to be about judging how they think. How they problem solve, how creative they are, how they bring their own unique perspective.
And this really shows you the shift, right? On one hand, you've got the old way. It's all about the final answer, memorizing facts, just repeating information. Basically, everything in AI is brilliant at. But on the other hand, you have what teachers are now saying we need to focus on, the stuff that's uniquely human. We're talking about the process of thinking, not just the result. Creativity, teamwork, and knowing right from wrong.
Yeah, and one teacher in the study just nailed it with this quote. The whole idea is simple. Let's stop testing for the things an AI can do and start measuring the things it can't. We've got to lean into what makes us, well, us. Because at the end of the day, those are the skills that are going to count.
Okay, but how do you actually do that? How do you measure something like creativity? Well, the teachers had a bunch of great practical ideas. We're talking about things like project-based learning, where it's about what you create, or using portfolios that show how a student has grown over time, not just their grade on one single test. It means more face-to-face stuff like oral exams and discussions, and having students tackle real-world problems. It's a huge shift from just knowing something to being able to apply it.
All right, let's move on because this is where the narrative takes a really cool turn. You'd think teachers would see AI as the enemy, right? The thing they have to fight against. But no, what these educators are saying is that they see AI as a potential partner, a powerful assistant that could completely change the game for them. And the big idea they kept bringing up is this concept of hybrid assessment. It's not about all old way bad, all new way good. It's way smarter than that. It's about taking the best of both worlds. Let the AI do what it's amazing at, crunching data, handling repetitive tasks, so that teachers are freed up to do what they're amazing at, mentoring students, inspiring them, and really getting to know how they think. And think about the possibilities here. They're just massive. Imagine an AI that helps a teacher build a custom quiz or a grading guide in just a few minutes instead of a few hours. Or an AI that can analyze all the student data and say, hey, this student might be struggling with this concept. It could even whip up fun games to make learning more engaging. The point is never to replace the teacher. It's to get rid of the grunt work, the tedious stuff, so they have more time for actual human connection with their students.
This quote from a teacher really sums it all up. It's like a 2-for-1 deal. You use AI to take some of the load off the teacher's back, and at the same time, you're teaching students how to use these tools wisely, with honesty and good judgment. It's a total win-win. Teachers get their time back, and kids learn how to be responsible digital citizens.
Okay, so we've got all these amazing ideas coming straight from the classroom. But how do we actually make this happen? Not just in one school, but everywhere. That brings us to our final part, a practical blueprint for turning these ideas into reality.
And what's so great about this is that it's not just a bunch of abstract theories. When you put together the insights from these hundreds of educators, you get a real, tangible roadmap. And it's not just a map for teachers, it's a guide for the people making the rules, for the principals running the schools, and honestly, for the students too.
For the schools themselves, the plan boils down to 3 key steps. First, they need to adjust how they test students, moving the focus to the learning process and actual skills. Second, they have to establish super clear rules for the whole school on how to use AI ethically. And third, and this one is a really big deal, they must provide ongoing training so teachers actually feel confident and capable using all this new tech.
So what does this all mean for the students? Well, it's all about getting them future ready. And that starts with learning how to use AI the right way, responsibly and ethically. It means teaching them to be skeptical, to question the answers the AI gives them, not just copy and paste. And, you guessed it, it means doubling down on those skills that an AI can't replicate: creativity, problem solving, working together. The goal is to create students who are curious and want to keep learning long after they've left the classroom.
So when you pull it all together, it's pretty clear that AI has thrown down a challenge. But maybe the test isn't for the student anymore. Maybe the real test is for our education system itself. Can we change fast enough? Can we start to truly value the things that make us human? You know, the creativity, the empathy, the critical thinking. That's really the big question that this age of AI is forcing all of us to answer.